Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Sports Arena. I'm your man, Eric Wilson. It's been a tremendous week. Super Bowl is officially over, so that means for most of us, we go into a state of what is there left to do for us on Sundays. But, the Super Bowl was a game that we had a lot of questions. But before we get to all that, let me go ahead and get the crew up in here. Let me get my brother telling both sides of the story, Mr. Jake Rongholt. Jake, good evening, sir. Welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I just wish that last night was a little bit better, but that's a story for the rest of the show. So
yeah, we'll definitely get to that. Let me get in our brother here. This gentleman has been celebrating all week long, and I know he did a little bit more last night after the Super Bowl victory. He's been trying to tell everybody all season long, don't mess with this team because they're going to come back and kick you in the you-know-what. My brother with a laundry list of shows, people, and as I said to him this week, the world no longer is he chasing. The world is now chasing him. My brother, Alex Fleming, sir, congratulations on your Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning the Super Bowl. How are you?
Feel good. I'd be a lie if I said I wasn't tired, but I mean, I'm good. I'm good.
Well,
awesome.
I'll say this for you guys. You, Alex, Fago, Mookie, all crushed it during Super Bowl media, and you guys should be immensely proud of what you guys are able to accomplish, and congratulations on all your continued success.
Appreciate that, Jake. Yeah, that's big coming from you, brother. So before we get started, I want to take a moment and I want to pay some homage and respect. Fortunately, this weekend, we have lost two of the greats in the world of sports journalism. The first here is Mr. Pedro Gomez, worked for ESPN, phenomenal baseball journalist, and just a great guy all the way around. So I wanted to take a moment and pay our respects to him for all the tremendous work that he's done and being a pioneer in this business as a Latino gentleman, talking about a game that, maybe needs to get more attention. And I hope that people will begin, such as myself, will begin to really respect the game of baseball just a little bit more. But I wanted to take a moment and honor this man. Gentlemen, if there's anything you'd like to say in regards to Pedro Gomez, please feel free.
It's a punch to the gut. It really is. He was one of my favorites at ESPN. I mean, you're talking about stories that he did. He was involved in the Barry Bonds steroid controversy, the Steve Bartman a shocker with the Cubs and the Marlins at that point. I mean, he was reporting on an exhibition game in Cuba. It was with a Cuban national team. He was a son of Cuban refugees as well, so that really meant a lot to him. And every time he put up a report, did anything of substance, he was just one of the tops. And it's such a monster loss for the baseball community. And I'm going to miss him because, one of the best things about him is that man knew how to cover West Coast baseball like anybody else. So it's a big crushing blow to baseball journalism, and he's going to be sorely, sorely missed.
58. 58. Nobody saw that coming at 58. Genuine guy, good guy. And like Jake said, one of the best in the business, East and West Coast. I remember the story. They couldn't do it. So when his parents died, he had them and took their ashes, I believe, back to Cuba and then set them free on the ocean sea. Yeah, that's my condolences.
Yeah. The other gentleman who we just found out today, and I was just as shocked to hear about this one. This man worked for the NFL Network, Chris Wessling, 46 years old. My heart goes out to his family, to his wife. They just had a baby. This was a guy on the NFL Network who you could have a conversation with, and just the stories that I've been listening to today about him, just such a genuine soul and such a great personality. And the people that he worked with, he didn't see them as coworkers or colleagues or even friends. He saw them as family. And I think that's what resonated to me most. So we definitely here at the Sports Arena want to give our thoughts and prayers to the Wessling family. All right, gentlemen. With that, we do have a guest joining us here this evening. He is from the DTSN Falcons. Our man, Mr. Joe Carlino. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Oh, not just DTSN Falcons anymore, Eric. Now writing for Blogging Dirty and the Fansided Network.
Very nice. Congratulations, sir. Welcome back to the sports arena. So, gentlemen, I just want to kind of jump into a couple things tonight, and first things first. Let's go ahead and get this out the way, guys, because I have to ask the question. I need to know, what are y'all's thoughts on the Super Bowl last night as a whole, not the outcome? Which again, congratulations, Tampa Bay Buccaneers being able to do what they did and rewrite history. But Jake, I'm actually going to start with you. Give me your thoughts, sir, on the Super Bowl last night.
I thought it was as bad as the Rams and the Patriots. Once again, it was one great team against a team that should have been closer in this game. And unfortunately, they were not prepared. They were not buttoned up. And Tom Brady did his classic mental game of chess on the Chiefs. And they were making self-inflicting mistakes. They could not get the ball into the end zone. They were dropping balls. This is something that you just cannot do in the Super Bowl. As a whole, I thought it was a dud. I was very disappointed with it. The game was over by the beginning of the third quarter. It was all Bucs all the time. And I just felt like at the end of the day, I was just sitting there going, I'm not going to remember the Super Bowl except for two reasons: Bucs defense and Tom Brady. Otherwise, I'm just sorely disappointed that for the second time in 3 years, we had another bad Super Bowl, and I'm not going to remember this in T-minus 5 minutes.
Wow, our man John Mizak chiming in saying, rest in peace to 28-3. So with that, I'm going to go to our man Joe Carlino from the DTSN Falcons and Blogging Dirty and saying to you, I mean, Joe, what were your thoughts about the game last night, my brother?
Well, first things first. I have about let's see, checking my watch here. Yeah, 10,000 pounds of crow to eat, courtesy of Alex and 99,999 Bucks fans. I got a lot of crow to eat, and I will gladly take it because I was
ready.
I was right about not winning the division because I was on the Saints train, but was wrong about the playoffs. Was wrong about everything that happened. Going into that game, I mean, I wanted it to be close. I mean, I'm kind of in Jake's mindset where I wanted to be closer than the final scoreboard. I mean, Alex, I'm sure he would have wanted, that was probably as perfect as he wanted to. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, not scoring a touchdown. Who would have thought we'd hear that this early into his career? But that just shows how great that defense is. Todd Bowles played a phenomenal game. In all fairness, he should have been Super Bowl MVP. I don't think it was Brady. The argument could be made for Devin White to be MVP. The argument could have been made for Gronkowski to be MVP. Playoff Lenny, my brother's happy for him. He wants to get a playoff Lenny jersey now because of that. But what I think was the real turning point in this game, at least in my eyes, was at the end of the first half. It was like the Chiefs did not watch Alex versus Jake 2 weeks ago, because when Andy Reid called that timeout on first down, I was like, what are you doing here? Now, again, I'm not making an excuse. I'm saying this from my mindset. When he called that timeout, I was like, you just saw them run the ball. They are content with this, just going at a halftime up 8, letting you get the ball and give us a game. And then they run it again, and you call another timeout. And then Gronkowski gets that first down on the 3rd down and 2. It was a quick out route, probably a speed out, I think it was. And then the very next play, what happens? Brady does what he always does at the end of halves. He takes a shot play, either hoping for a PI or a completed pass. He got the PI. You could argue maybe uncatchable. I don't know. I mean, Mike Evans is a hell of a receiver. Still not the best receiver in the division that resides in Atlanta. Happy birthday, GOAT, by the way.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, GOAT. And then the second one on Matthew in the end zone. If they threw that flag, I think it's because, if I remember correctly, pass interference in the end zone is just the second you make contact with them, it's a flag. It doesn't matter if the ball is uncatchable or not. I believe that's the rule. And then the very next play, they go to they target Matthew again. This time he's covering AB on that quick in and out, throws it low where only AB can get it. They have a little bit of jabbing, a little bit of jar in there. I do think it should have been offsetting unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, because Brady did go after Matthew after Matthew's already jogging off the field. Again, I'm not trying to make excuses here. Alex, to the victor go the spoils. And I'm just going to say this real quick, because again, I did work 5 years for the Bucks. I do have a salute to service, and as Bucks fans were doing all night, and they will be doing for years, fire the cannons.
All right, so let me go ahead to the man of the hour here, if you will, because like I said, since March, since Brady came to Tampa, this man has been talking about the success of this team and where they were going to go. I mean, we can look over the numbers and the stats and everything that has transpired and see what, in fact, he has accomplished in his 21-year career. But Alex, I'm turning this over to you simply because you have been the guy, along with our girl Ruth, but you have been the guy who has been trying to tell people, don't mess with Tampa. This is our year. So, sir, I'm going to give the floor to you.
Jake, congratulations and thank you for that. That was kind of you. Joe, pleasure to see you. Bro, I don't run into too many Falcon fans, real talk. And I'm just being polite about that. But no, Joe and I are cool. Excellent analysis. I like how you broke that up. And you were absolutely right about that timeout. You were absolutely right. You had momentum and you saw what Tampa was trying to accomplish. If you went 3 and out and you stop your momentum, that's an easy score to end the half. They did that against Green Bay. So why would you allow that to happen again? Good call, Mr. Carlino. No. Super Bowl Media Week was excellent. Beautiful. Love the resort. You run into everybody and you do what you need to do because you want to be treated and seen as a professional. That's why I worked my tail off Super Bowl week. I have been covering the team before the season. Actually, Mr. Wilson was right. Jigsaw falling into place. All right, when you had Jameis Winston, you had turnovers, but he was putting up yards. You needed to keep Godwin and Evans healthy because when they went down, that's when the losses started. And you had to replace the kicker. Matt Gay's no longer with the team, and they replaced him with Saka. You had a hole on your offensive line, and you needed a backup just in case one of them went down. Enter Aaron Stinney and Tristan Wirfs. Tristan Wirfs was my number one. I saw him as the best tackle in that draft. And you had Mekhi Becton, and of course you had the gentleman who's now residing in Cleveland from Alabama, Jedrick Wills, and you had Andrew Thomas who went to New York. All right, you needed an enforcer. You needed a ball hawk. You needed a safety, lo and behold, and you got that in Antoine Winfield. You needed wide receiver depth, and you have a number one in Tyler Johnson. He just can't get playing time. Beautiful catching radius. He has good length of motion. Brady, I don't care if you like him or not. It's time to respect him. The hate needs to go. 7, Otto Graham, and they didn't play Super Bowls back then. It's official. All right, I don't believe in any of this GOAT talk. He's Tom Brady. All right, you got Michael Jordan, you got Tom Brady, you got Muhammad Ali. He's Tom Brady. 7 for 3, and nobody's going to catch him. Let's get rid of this myth. No one's catching him. He was already a legend. I mean, just FedEx style now. It's over. Offensive line pose issues for the defense because they play a traditional 4-2-5 scheme. Leonard Fournette, 200 less carries. He's fresh. All right, Ronald Jones. Now, together they equaled 150 yards rushing, but you have to compliment the fact that Tom Brady got sacked once and Scotty Miller took a negative play. But overall, 145 yards on the ground. What does that mean? Ball control. I have control of the ball. I can sustain long drives. Patrick, you're on the sidelines. You're never going to get warm because you had 3 chances in the beginning of the game. Kelsey's legs got tied up. Now you're going 3 and out. Tyreek Hill doesn't get much on the end around, and you have nobody else to rely on because they put a bracket over them. 4 players, linebacker, safety, corner, and a safety. So even if you do get past my coverage, you're not getting anything deep. They took away the deep play. If you have a team that's finesse, they're faster than you, and they may even be skilled than you. But if you could keep them from doing what they want to do and take away the running game, you stick them in a position where you have to play a full 60 minutes of football because you're going to get hit every time. Your first play is not going to be a first down, and you're going to have to matriculate the ball down the field. Well, like players of the Tampa Bay Bucks said, they like to get cute. They're looking for big strikes. They're looking for like 6, 7, maybe 13 play drives, maybe if they have to, but they're not about that business all night. And that's why when you got physical with Kelsey and you saw the pass rush, bro, it's up to us. I told people who did accept the article that if the linebackers were able to just get psycho blitzes and free on stunts because Vita Vea and Ndamukong Suh were going to stop that running game. Talking about the running game, Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 64 yards rushing. Tyreek Hill and I believe in Darrell Williams each had 5 yards apiece, so that's 10. And then with Patrick Mahomes, you had 33. That's 107 yards total. Here's the problem. That 33 came from your quarterback, which means he was going to be running for his life. And guess what? 497 yards, not going past the line of scrimmage, running away from the defense is what he accumulated because he was running for his life. 3 sacks, 29 quarterback pressures. Levante David looked great. Pierre-Paul looked great. And do I need to talk about Devin White? Do I? No, I don't. And I know it was petty what Antoine Winfield did, but you know what? He embarrassed that Tampa Bay team week 12 with the deuces and the back foot. You know, football is all about getting that get back. If you've ever played the game of football and a team embarrasses you, I guarantee you, if you get a second chance, you're going to do everything in your power to play your heart out to get some get back. And Tyreek Hill deserves some get back. Everybody says that Tom Brady was the MVP, and I can see why you give him that. Overall, the season, I do believe Tom Brady deserves the MVP award, but we were talking about a game. Now, unfortunately, MVP most valuable player, because if it meant more valuable person, it belonged to Todd Bowles. His shutdown psycho defense.
Hold that thought, Alex. Hold that thought. We're going to get to him in just a moment. So save that. I want you to save that because I do have something that, and you're jumping me on. Don't jump me on this one because I've been teeing you up here. So before we get to that, gentlemen, let's go back for a moment. And I do have another question. Let's keep it moving here on the sports arena. So I got to ask a question. And gentlemen, very simply this. The man on the screen right now, is Patrick Mahomes to blame for the loss last night? Trying to do too much. I will say a la Cam Newton-esque, if you will. Running backwards, trying to make something out of nothing. You know, maybe he didn't read his routes or the communication was off or the disruption actually happened. Mr. Carlino, I'm going to go to you. Is Patrick Mahomes to blame for the loss last night?
Okay, this one's actually an interesting one. But before I get to that, Alex will like this reference for me. Hello, Mr. President. I need the National Guard. I need the National Guard real quick. I need, these guys are getting beat. They are getting destroyed. They need help. Can you please send the National Guard? All right, thank you. Help is on the way. Help is on the, I got the National Guard. Help is on the way. That was a little Shannon Sharp there, but that was also Tyreek Hill. And I listened to that today on Undisputed. Shannon Sharp actually said that. They did that, he said, week 7 or 8 in the 95 season, which was just before I was born. They lose that year to Jacksonville in the divisional round, and that's the one game he said that he's never watched. He has never seen the tape of that game. But listening to the game and watching it, I'm going to absolve him of blame. I'm going to give him 30%. 30% is fair for him because the next gen stats, this was just insane because Eric, you just said it. He had Alex said it, 33 rushing yards or 37, I think is what the final number was. He had 497 rushing yards just before he threw the passes. And he was aided a little bit by some drops. I mean, Kelsey had that drop right after the goal line stand, of which I don't know why BA challenged that. That's a little ticky-tack there. He had the drop by Kelsey. He had the one where the corner blitzed him. He somehow faked him out and was able to scramble. Throws it to Tyreek. Tyreek drops it off his face mask. Could have been a nice touchdown. And then the real pass, which is lost to history. How in the heck that man on his side just flung the ball like 30 yards and it nearly was a touchdown. Like, I'm in awe of his arm strength. I'm in awe of it. But the Bucs mainly played straight cover 2. They played physical at the line of scrimmage. They beat them with 4. They set it up because they knew that if you had the receivers beat and you were able to get pressure with 4, they had help over the backside. So by playing the straight cover 2, being able to get home with 4, a couple of stunt blitzes by David and White. I mean, White, that one where it was like they both ran out and it's like that option, like the read option in a sense where it's like you pitch it back. Mahomes passed it back to White, Hilaire, and Devin White just goes right past it and is like, I'll take that for a tackle for a loss. Thank you very much. Of which I will agree. He is a very good linebacker. But I'm going to go like 30% personally for him because given it starts with those big men up front. It just starts with them. If you can't control the line of scrimmage, I don't care who your quarterback is. We saw it. Patrick Mahomes was pressured 29 of his 56 dropbacks. That is the most in Super Bowl history. Tom Brady, conversely, of his 30 dropbacks, he was pressured on 4.
Okay.
I rest my case.
Jake, let me go to you then, sir. How much are we giving this on? How much blame are we assessing to Patrick Mahomes on this one?
I would give about 20% to him. That this was a team loss, and that's the problem there. I mean, the biggest mistake that the Chiefs made was they did not have a plan B. Their offensive line was already banged up. They already knew that their right guard was going to be opting out and going up to Canada to fight the coronavirus and use his medical degree, and they did nothing. They didn't bring up anybody in there. You know, Jared Valdir was available up there, and he decided not to. They wanted to push Mike Remmers from right tackle over to left tackle, and this guy was basically a walking tackling sled for Jason Pierre-Paul. Every single time that Pierre-Paul got his hands up right into those shoulder pads of Remmers, all I saw was Remmers having difficulty, struggling as he is being pushed back right in front of Patrick Mahomes, or he has to roll out, naked bootleg, whatever he can think of at that point. So there's a lot of blame here to go from, the general manager down to Patrick Mahomes. But the only thing I'm going to blame Patrick Mahomes for is his inability to scan the field, because like Joe said, 29 of 56 dropbacks, 52%. They got after him. They got him out of his groove. I mean, look at the numbers: 17 receptions, 206 yards for Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. The receivers: Elaire, Watkins, Robinson, Hardman, Pringle, Williams. 9 receptions and 64 yards. There's a lack of trust right now in that wide receiver core. There's going to be changes coming soon, but Patrick Mahomes needs a solid number 2, because Sammy Watkins is not that number 2 anymore for them, and they need some help at that point. So Mahomes needs to, wise up, understand, look, you still got 9 years left on this contract. And you got to be able to go to Chiefs personnel and say, I need a receiver. I don't care about speed. I need a guy who can catch a football. 6 drop passes in the first half alone. You cannot afford to drop the ball in the Super Bowl. That's the worst time ever to drop a football. And that's what happened yesterday.
All right. And I actually have to take a moment here and let me make sure everybody can see me when I say this. I know I was big on guys like Sammy Watkins and Mecole Hardman, but I have to say I was wrong, because clearly in the biggest game, these gentlemen who I thought were going to step up and be those guys to maybe not be the dynamic duo of a Mike Evans or Chris Godwin, but at the very least be on the same level as, other duos in the NFL who are capable of making the big time plays when necessary. I hope they get better and they can find a way to make things work, but truly it was not the case last night. We are going to take a real quick break, 30 seconds. And then when we come back, I do want to talk about Tampa Bay Bucks, and I'm going to give them a lot more love and a lot more credit. Alex is probably going to do a lot of that as well. More with the Sports Arena, ladies and gentlemen, in about 30 seconds. Welcome back. Your man, Eric Wilson, Sports Arena, alongside my brother, Mr. Alex Fleming, still celebrating and reeling off the victory. Mr. Humble Pie, Joe Carlino, DTSN Falcons, and Blogging Dirty, and our man, Jake Rongholt, always telling both sides of the story. So, gentlemen, Alex, more importantly, I want to talk about this man here on the screen, because I truly feel he was the true most valuable person, as you said earlier, Alex, because of what his defense was able to do. Now, listen, I have been in support of Todd Bowles even when he was the head coach of the New York Jets. I knew this man was capable of doing great things, but to execute, I would say, almost a flawless game last night from the defensive standpoint for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you held Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs to 9 points. No touchdowns. And sir, I have to tip my hat to you because I knew he was great. Last night, he was excellent. Mr. Fleming, I'm going to turn that over to you, sir.
Okay, so Todd Bowles had a bad time with the Jets, but you got to think what he was handed. Look what situation he took over. He had Chan Gailey as his offensive coordinator, and he had Fitzpatrick as his quarterback. The defense was Enert and Pickens. All right, so you didn't have much to work with on defense. So you have a defensive coordinator in a coaching position dealing with the team that doesn't have any defense. Now, yes, they weren't winning games, but they were competitive. They fired him, and they hired Adam Gase, and whatever bag he finished after leaving Miami, he stunk up the joint. And they finally fired him after all these years and giving up players for nothing. One guy went to Pittsburgh. He was happy, saw a picture of him on, New York Avenue in his uniform, so on and so forth. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. But let's talk about last night. 3-4 defense, Shaquille Barrett, Devin White, and Ndamukong Suh, Vita Vea, and Goldstein up front. If you get pressure with 3, then you have 3 men on the linebacking core. Now, Kelce demanded attention. That's why they had a linebacker, 2 corners, and a safety who did the bridge on Kelce and Hill. But that leaves 3 more linebackers and 3 down linemen. And you got 2 backup tackles. That's not smart. Pressure off the edges. I saw him not once but twice send corners on corner blitzes. I mean, you can't guard that. You literally and figuratively can't guard that. And that left to the reason why he had 530 yards from scrimmage, 497 behind the line of scrimmage. That man was running for his life. Todd Bowles set up a system to where, yes, you don't get beat deep, and you have to get first down after first down after first down. Now, here's the issue that Mr. Carlino spoke about. When your team has momentum, don't ever call the timeout because you give the defense a chance to reset. Number 2, if you know they're bringing heat, why are you not throwing more screens? Why? Because your main personnel is covered. You take away Kelce, his security blanket, and you take away the wide receiver known as Tyreek Hill. Anything coming across the middle, you're bringing another man inside to help out for coverage for defense. And when they were isolated on that island, yeah, there was plenty of traffic. 4-on-2, what you going to do? They were allowed to get pressure with 5. And Todd Bowles set up a scheme. As a matter of fact, he had a direct quote. I don't want to misquote the gentleman, so if you give me a second, I'll find it personally. But he basically said that Kelce and Hill ran wild week 12, and they only lost that game by 3 after they made adjustments. So he figured if he fixes the adjustments and makes those at the start of the game, you not only have a chance to win, you can slow down and stop their offense. And it disrupted their whole tempo the other night. And don't get it twisted on those 64 yards for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Yeah, he got 64 yards. He had 2 big plays. Other than that, I remember him getting tackled behind the line of scrimmage 3 times. They were ball hawks last night, and I couldn't have been prouder.
All right, Alex, while you find that quote, let me go ahead and welcome in our brother, Mr. Michael Carrottenuto, Believe in the Pac-12 podcast. Mike, what's going on, man? How are you?
Oh, man, I'm good. I just finished another broadcast, and it went long, but I didn't want to miss out on this. I had to be here for Alex's gloating because I picked on him all season long about the Bucs, as you know. So I was gonna be here for it, Alex. I wasn't gonna run away.
I thank you for coming. I found the quote.
Okay, so Mike, I'm gonna give you a minute. Just give me your thoughts on the game last night, and then Alex will come back to you to get the quote. Mike, give me your thoughts on the game last night, man.
Yeah, I mean, it was defense. It was my favorite side of the ball. As you know, Eric, you've known me for years. I love defense. I don't need 40 to 50 points in a game. And yeah, Tampa made the adjustments. And I mean, in the 2 weeks, my only thing is, I mean, if you're Eric Bieniemy and you're Andy Reid, they're going to probably do a lot more than they did in the second half. So they would adjust accordingly. And I'm with Alex. I don't understand. Throw some more screens, get the ball to Tyreek Hill in the backfield. Yeah, they made some plays, but early in the game, I was surprised they didn't give the ball to Helaire more, run the ball more. But even putting Tyreek Hill in the backfield. But yeah, I mean, hats off to the Bucs defense because, I mean, to me, I know it'll never happen, Eric. And if it does, I think it'll probably be the last year of the NFL ever. But I mean, I literally thought you give the MVP to the defense. I mean, they were the MVP of the game. They shut it down. Kelce had an okay game. Tyreek Hill obviously didn't do, like Alex touched on, what he did in week 12. So I just, again, I mean, it was a phenomenal defensive plan by Todd Bowles. And I mean, yeah, their offense did deliver. Outside of the, and again, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, outside of all the penalties, I thought it was a great game plan. It was phenomenal, and hats off to the Bucks and like I said, and Todd Bowles and the defense, because they were the stars of that game.
All right, Alex, let me go back to you, sir. Go ahead and get that quote for us, sir, if you will, please.
NFL, on what their blueprint was to shutting down Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill to allow the linebackers to swarm. My question to Todd Bowles last night. Well, we tried to pay a lot of attention to them early and make sure that they didn't get off to start the game. Last time that we played them, they got off to a fast start. We never recovered, and we lost by 3. This time, we thought if we cleaned up some mistakes and tried to cover them up a little bit, we could get going and get in the groove. And those guys did that, and that's a credit to them, studying the game plan for 2 weeks.
There you have it. So I want to take a moment here on the sports arena, and I want to recognize Bruce Arians for doing something that I think more people in his position of power should really embody and embrace. I don't have the picture. I was trying to find it. I mean, Alex, I tried to copy and paste the one that you had posted in your story on social media about all the diversity that exists under Bruce Arians. And the fact that this week, the opportunity presented both Alex and I and several others to be able to talk to not only Bruce Arians, but his entire coaching staff, from Byron Leftwich to Todd Bowles, Kevin Foote, and so on and so on. That, to me, was probably one of the proudest moments I think I have seen when it comes to the organization and the Shield. The fact that there was more minority and women coaches with Bruce Arians, and they took this team of 53 men to the promised land and succeeded and rewrote history. I think a lot more credit needs to be given to all of those coaches, from Bruce Arians all the way down, because it really shows that when we all decide to be unified for one common goal, we can achieve greatness. And that is exactly what happened last night. So not only is my hat off to Bruce Arians and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I tip my hat again to his staff, his coaching staff, his strength and conditioning, his quarterback coach, defensive coaches, linebackers, wide receivers, running backs, the whole 9 yards, because what he has created needs to be the blueprint for coaching staffs moving forward. And I had to say that because I felt it was necessary, because I feel like it is a message that needs to be spoken about, and we need to utilize this moving forward with not only the NFL, but with a lot of sports organizations. So, gentlemen, I got a question I have to ask you, and I'll give each of you about a minute to say your piece on this one. Tom Brady has gone on record as saying he will be back next year. When Jim Nantz asked him the question last night on the stage in Raymond James Stadium, I believe he said, we're going to run this back. Now, they might not have been his exact words, but that's pretty much what I heard Brady say last night. Mike, let me give you 60 seconds, my brother. Does Brady really need to come back, man? I mean, does he? Talk to me. I'll give you a minute. Go ahead.
I mean, does he need to? No. Obviously, he's done everything he wants. But if you still love playing, I mean, I related to, and again, not saying they had the same success, obviously, but Larry Fitzgerald, because Eric, you and I have talked about this 3 years ago, everybody in Arizona was like, oh, he should probably retire. But he's still producing. So if he loves the game and he still wants to play and he can still, and he feels like he can do it at a high level, might as well come back and play. I mean, what's he going to do? Sit around, twiddle his thumbs and, develop, eat his avocado ice cream all day? But no, I mean, if he wants to, and he, like I said, you still have a love for the game, you're a passion. These guys are just proven. I mean, him, obviously Breeze is older, Rodgers is getting there, Roethlisberger's getting there, but it's like, you know what? You can still play the game and at a high level. So yeah, come back. I mean, he has nothing else to prove, but he wants to go out on his own terms, and good for him.
All right, Mr. Carlino, I'm gonna give you a minute, sir. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I actually said this to a Saints fan about an hour ago. You can hate the man all you want for what you think he did, whether he did Spygate, Deflategate, Headset Gate, all kinds of gates. You can hate the man, but God damn, do you have to respect that man? 7 rings, more than any other franchise. I guess I can just take solace in the fact that, and I don't know if Alex will agree, but with the Bucs win, it has solidified our division. NFC South, best division. Don't at me.
Mr. Rongholt, give me your thoughts, sir.
Tom Brady can do whatever he wants. This is a guy who had a winning mentality grow even during his time in New England for his first 5 years. You're talking about a man who started behind Drew Henson, of all people. And when he was able to perform, he showcased in a very limited level. And now he has this opportunity to do something that he did not do without Bill Belichick, and finally did it. This was his best team since the 2007 Patriots. They are loaded on every position of the football. They have a great offensive line. They have a stellar running group in Fournette and Ronald Jones. They have Chris Godwin, and they're going to try and bring him back because their salary cap is 6th in the NFL, so they got a chance to bring him back. They got Mike Evans. Gronkowski's going to come back. And then you got that front 7 that still has that chip on their shoulder because guess what? That front 4 were all expendable on other teams, and guess what? They have a ring, and they can all shut it. And
all right, Mr. Fleming.
Tom Brady's the only man that will make his own thing.
All right, Mr. Fleming, sir. You've talked about this team for 6 seasons. You're going into your 7th now with them, and Super Bowl champions. Give me your thoughts.
Tom Brady has everything to prove. Guys, okay, yes, he's 6-4. Well, he's 7-3 actually. 7-3. My apologies, autogram. But they didn't play Super Bowls back then. But you guys didn't take a look at the schedule, now did you? They play the AFC East. Now, what better way to get back at Mr. Belichick by not only beating him on the schedule, but probably getting another ring without him? Plus, you got to thank Buffalo, another chance to beat up on Miami. Of course, you didn't win the division in the NFC South, so there's always more to obtain. Atlanta is rebuilding. New Orleans is going through changes. They're in salary cap hell. And the Panthers, we're not worried about kitty cats. I'm just saying that respectfully. They want to meet up with Kansas City again because I don't see anybody beating them in the AFC. Now, the Chargers are creeping up on them, but they got to fix the defense. And I don't think Ravens can put up enough points like Patrick Mahomes. He has everything to prove.
All right, fair enough. I again do not. I feel like there is nothing left for this man. But I had this conversation last night with a very dear friend of mine, and what she said makes sense. And to credit all of you gentlemen, it's exactly what you said. It's that competitive nature within you. You never lose it. And if you feel like there is still more for you to do, you were going to go out and do just that. So while I do feel different, I feel like this should have been his swan song. There is nothing left in my eyes for Tom Brady to prove to the NFL. I guess there still is, and we shall see. So my final question to you gentlemen here tonight on the Sports Arena is very simply this, gentlemen. Are we going to see this rematch in the SoFi Stadium for Super Bowl 56? Will it be Tom Brady versus Patrick Mahomes Part 2 in LA next season? Mr. Fleming, I'm going to start with you, sir.
Unfortunately, yes. 11-5. And I've doctrinated and dictated how it went down and how it was going. They caught fire after the bye week. And lucky for them, they play an NFC North opponent, of course, the NFC South, and then the AFC East. So as long as they win their division, they'll get a number 2 or number 1 seed. That leads to more games in Raymond James Stadium. As far as the AFC is concerned, anybody in the AFC South, that really depends on if Indianapolis can get a quarterback. Tennessee, too many deficiencies. Jacksonville's rebuilding. Let's not talk about Houston. The North, Pittsburgh, Yeah, I don't know. You know, Cleveland's cooking with something. I'd keep my eye on Cleveland, but I don't think they're ready for the heat right now. Baltimore, wide receivers, enough simple. Get El Freaky some help. But are you going to do that? I don't know. We don't need to talk about Cincinnati. West, they got more problems inside the division than everything else. Denver's going to have a fire sale. I think Fangio's going to get fired soon. Chargers, bro, keep your eye on them. And then Vegas, I mean, they're trying to find somebody to pick up Carr. You know, real talk. They're thinking about quarterback. But no, I don't see anybody dodging all the bullets that the Chiefs are going to give people next year. Very angry, and they were embarrassed. Champions were embarrassed. Think about what you did to the mentality of a man when you embarrass a champion on national TV. And nobody wants smoke from that offense. Mahomes used to be a pitcher, Texas Tech. He was given all types of opposing patterns, Raider rash, because he had a full range of motion. So whenever he made that jump cut throw, yeah, that was just in the arsenal. By the way, his father played Major League Baseball. I believe he played for the Royals and the Twins. That's how Mahomes has a little bit of a Minnesota background. But yeah, no, Mahomes is funky. Leave him alone. I gave him 25%, which was the original question before we went to break. I gave him 25% of the blame because, you know, it's a team effort. 25 to Mahomes, 25 to Andy Reid and that whole scheme. You should have ran the ball off the top, and 50 to that defense because they got exposed.
Fair enough. Mr. Ronholt, rematch, Super Bowl 56, Tampa, Kansas City. Your thoughts?
And that's the problem right there. There has not been a rematch of a Super Bowl since 2012 with the Giants and the Patriots. Otherwise, it is a different matchup every year. The fact is, right now, the Kansas City Chiefs got a lot of work to do. They have to figure out how they're going to get out of this hole where they're ranked 26th in the NFL in salary cap. They are $17 million in the red right now. They have to figure a way to get rid of Anthony Hitchens, who has $10 million to cut off a loan there. They have to figure out how they're going to be able to rebuild this linebacker core. Who else is going to be there with Chris Jones? And what is going to happen with this secondary? Because Bashaud Breeland is not going to be there next year, so they have to figure that out. Their offensive line, they have to have a plan B. They don't have the plan B right now. So they have to go in and they have to find offensive line depth. And what players are going to be gone? What are going to be the main issues there? I could see Tampa getting back, but look at this. And a lot of people are forgetting about this. Baltimore is ranked 10th in salary cap. They're going to be able to afford a receiver. The Browns are 12th, and they still have plenty in the salary cap right now. The Bills are still alive. The Colts are still good. The Dolphins are going to be back. The Titans are still in there. I don't think it's going to be that easy for the Chiefs. The Chiefs had the moment. They had the chance. They took down the Browns. They took down the Bills. But now you're going to have even better teams coming back next year with great coaches like Brian Flores and Frank Reich. And don't be a bit surprised if you see Frank Reich make a move to bring in a new quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, who are going to be still a very serious Super Bowl contender. I'm not believing in the Chiefs right now until they rebuild that defense and give Steve Spagnuolo something to work with that the New York Giants used to do. That's my problem there. The Bucs, though, watch out. They might go on another spree this year because they are only 6th in salary cap. And Jason Ritt has done a terrific job rebuilding this franchise from the ground up and making this into a Super Bowl contender for the second year in a row. However, keep this in mind. They're going to be back with the Rams, who have Matthew Stafford, and a very good football coach in Sean McVay. The 49ers are going to be back. Mark my words, the San Francisco 49ers are going to be back in the conversation. The Packers are coming back. Joe Barry just got hired as the defensive coordinator. The Cardinals are going to be back. Cliff Kingsbury, it's either ride or die right now with this guy. And then, of course, we all have to all forget about the stupid wild card and the Dallas freaking Cowboys, because we don't know what team is going to rise up in Dallas this year. So anybody thinking that the Buccaneers are just going to skate right through? No, but I will say congratulations as they're the 2021 NFC South champions, but that's as far as I'm going.
All right, Mr. Carrot-Tenuto.
Well, Eric, I just have to say I almost had a tear in my eye. I thought you were too, because Alex actually was complimentary towards the Cleveland Browns. Alex, did we turn you to the Cleveland Browns a little bit? No, but I'm going with no rematch. I'm going with no rematch. I love you, Alex. I just can't believe it. I'm like a proud parent. Like, you actually compliment the Browns. And I'm not even a Browns fan. I can't stand Cleveland. But anyway, no. But all kidding aside, I'm gonna go with no. Just because, I mean, you've seen all the numbers and everything, and if there is one team that lost that can get back, yes, I would give Kansas City the best odds, just because of what they have. I mean, Patrick Mahomes' salary goes up to $25 million next year. So again, like Jake said, there's going to be issues. There's stuff there. I'm still riding with Bills Mafia too. I can't wait, Alex. I didn't realize that. I didn't look at the schedule, but I can't wait till the Bucs and the Bills play, because I just think it'll be a slaughter fest. So I'm riding with Bills Mafia. The Ravens, I'm with you on that too. I'll say the Browns, depending what the Steelers do too. I mean, Roethlisberger wants to play for free, guys. The Players Union will never let it happen, but Roethlisberger wants to play for free. I'm gonna go with no, Eric. I just love the mix up, and like Jake said too. I mean, the Niners, going into the season, I thought they would be the first team that lost to get back, and then once they got crushed by injuries and everything, I mean, you could just tell it was a different team. Does Shanahan believe in Jimmy G or not? We'll see. I mean, guaranteed money's off the books. So, again, it could be the quarterback carousel. But I think if they get healthy, I mean, the Niners, I think, pros the thing. I want to see more what the Rams do, too. I mean, I do like I said, I love that trade. But no, I'm gonna go with no. I mean, I could leave with Jake. I could say that they could win the division, but I just think that it's in this day and age with free agency and everything, I say no repeat game. So, which I would love to see, because although Eric, I can't believe I'm going to tell you this. I don't know if you've seen it. My cousin, who unfortunately is the diehard Steelers fan, and Alex, I think you'll appreciate this too, of course, has to always talk trash to me being a Cowboys fan. So he sends me this picture, and I'm like, what's he sending? And it's Tom Brady in a Cowboys uniform smiling, and it says, if you want to stop Tom Brady from getting any more rings, let him go play for the Cowboys.
Amen.
I knew you'd appreciate
Amen
that.
to that.
I knew you'd appreciate that.
Mr. Carlino, give me your thoughts, sir. Will Super Bowl 56 be a rematch between the two teams that we saw last night?
I want to say yes, but I'm going to go no. As much as it's tough for me, because everybody literally just had perfect arguments for every team. I mean, you have the Ravens, who are very good. I mean, if we can see how Lamar continues to evolve as a passer, maybe we'll see them make a run. Mike just said it with Big Ben. He wants to basically play for free, but he doesn't have a very good receiver core, and they have the worst rushing attack in the NFL, which is surprising. I really thought Atlanta had the worst rushing attack in the NFL. Bills Mafia, well, if they come, if Bills Mafia makes it to the Super Bowl, I think we need to call the Dudley Boys, because they need to get the tables to SoFi Stadium. We need that first and foremost. The AFC West, I mean, Chiefs are the favorite in there. I don't know how the Raiders are going to do, because I think they're in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes, even though they still have Derek Carr, but we don't know what's going to happen with Derek Carr. Herbert, I think if there's a team in that division that will make a run at the Chiefs, it's going to be the Chargers. I agree with Alex. Keep an eye out on them. Going on the NFC side, I mean, Jake, your guys' arguably best quarterback competition in Stafford took a flight to LA, and they got Jared Goff back. I want to see how he does in Detroit, but let's be real. You're the best quarterback in the division, so you guys have that division wrapped up, already hook, line, and sinker. NFC East, really, that was a thing before the playoffs started. I was like, how is Skip Bayless going to be if the Cowboys win the division and then that first matchup is against the Bucs? Because it's like, I want Tampa Bay in a home Super Bowl, but it's against my Cowboys. You want to talk about a heart aneurysm? He would have had a heart aneurysm there. But I think the Washington football team is going to be the division winners again next year, because that defense is legit. But watch out for Daniel Jones. I think he's starting to come into foray a little bit. And then with the Eagles, I mean, Eric, you saw the quote-unquote reports about what that trade might be with Chicago. If that's true, I think you've got some choice words for that.
Trubisky's an Eagle.
NFC West.
Why, Bears?
NFC West, I will say the 49. I'll make a bold prediction right now. 49ers are the division champions next year. I will say that right now. And as for our division, Alex, with the South, I'm going to be like Jake. Bucks are most likely going to be the division champions this year with the way that team is. But it's all dependent on how you guys do the salary cap, because you have Gronk, Fournette, Antonio Brown, Levante David, who am I forgetting that are Godwin.
There's plenty. There's plenty.
I just want to see how they maneuver. I want to see how they maneuver that like all those guys. If they can fit them all, fantastic. I do respect Mike Evans for being unselfish. Want to say, hey, you need a little bit of my money to be able to get these guys. I am okay with that. That is very unselfish. That's a team player right there. Mad respect to him. Panthers. We can't go with them. I mean, even if they get Deshaun Watson, I'm not going to give them anything because I don't think they're. Okay. I just don't see it in Carolina. New Orleans, they are so far over the cap, it's not even funny. I do want to see. I personally think they're going to let Jameis be the starter next year, which leaves Tampa's only real contention in our division is us. And let's be real. Our defense was the first real sign that something might be the key against Kansas City, because it's still a month later. We just saw what the Bucks did yesterday night, and I still can't figure out how my defense, which blew a 28-3 lead, blew a 16-point lead, blew 3 17-point leads, 4 if you count the NFC Championship game against San Francisco, and a 19-point lead where they couldn't fall on a football, held that defense to 17 points, and came a 39-yard field goal, which went wide right from forcing overtime in Arrowhead. I don't know what happened. Maybe it's just straight play cover 2. If you can play straight cover 2 against the Chiefs and beat them with 4 because you don't respect the run game, then that's the key. So
quite possibly.
I'm gonna say no for now, but if you had to put my feet to the fire, either one of those two teams, I'm gonna say the Bucks have the best chance to repeat as NFC champions.
All right, let me get my word in. Go ahead, Mike.
All I was gonna say is to Alex and Joe is that if they get Deshaun Watson with Christian McCaffrey, you're not calling them kitty cats no more. I'm saying that right now. I'm not saying they get Watson, but if they do, that team will wreck some teams.
Okay. So let me give you my assessment, and then I'll go to Mr. Fleming. Go ahead, Jake. No, go ahead. Get it.
Real quick. NFC South, Atlanta Falcons, it's going to be about a 2-3 year project. They are $23 million in the hole right now. And then the New Orleans Saints are dead last in the NFL, $70 million in the hole. Good luck trying to get out of that for the next 5 years.
All right. So here's my thought when it comes to this rematch. As much as I would love to see it, I just hope I hope we get the game that we wanted last night next year. Like you gentlemen, I'll take the road and break it down, and then I'll let Mr. Fleming close the show out here tonight on the Sports Arena. And again, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. When I look at the AFC side of things, the only two teams, in my opinion, outside of Kansas City, who I truly feel like have a legitimate shot of vying for representing the AFC in the Super Bowl are Buffalo and Baltimore. Baltimore is a few key pieces away because we know what Lamar Jackson is. If you don't know Lamar Jackson by now, you've been living under a rock. When it comes to Bills Mafia, I've already finished drinking the Kool-Aid, if you'll see here. When it comes to Bills Mafia, I believe in them. They are the new AFC East champs, and I will go on record in saying they will win that division yet again next year. And that's even if one of my wildest wishes comes true and Deshaun Watson happens to fall to Robert Saleh and the Jets. I still say Buffalo is going to get it done. So those are the only two teams that I can foresee vying for the AFC Conference Championship against Kansas City. Now, when I flip it over to the NFC, really and truly, the Bucs are the team. Drew Brees is coming back and has restructured his contract because he wants one more shot. Well, Drew, my brother, you've had several opportunities. Some you were unjustly removed from the playoffs. And I will leave it at that. I'm not going to bring up past history. But what I will say to you, though, is I feel like you're fighting a losing battle. You can have Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, and you can have the Jenkins boys on defense. But something about New Orleans just isn't there. The mystique, the mystery, that 2009, 2010, the year that y'all won it, coming back after Katrina, listen to me. That was amazing. But I don't see it anymore. No one fears going into the Superdome. They've proven that this year. When I look at, Atlanta and Carolina, yeah, you're always going to be the little brothers, gentlemen. Until Matt Ryan, in my opinion, is gone from Atlanta, Atlanta is always going to be in the what if phase. When I go to the NFC West, which I will say is the most dominant division in all of football, the fact that 2 out of the 4 and 5 gentlemen on this panel tonight are saying that San Francisco is going to make noise and y'all are just forgetting about Russell Wilson, I think is a disservice to what that man has done. I will always choose Seattle to win that division simply because of Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson. And because, quite frankly, whoever the general manager is for Seattle, he knows how to get drafts. He knows how to pick people in drafts, unlike other teams, which I will get to them in one moment. When I look at the NFC North, let's say for argument's sake that the trade that is supposed to happen happens and Carson Wentz goes to Chicago. Meanwhile, Nick Foles and Tariq Cohen come to Philadelphia. Jake, congratulations. You once again will plant your flag as NFC North champs. I'm going to call it right now. I don't trust Kirk Cousins. Jared Goff in Detroit, he's about as busted as Detroit is. And Chicago will not know what to do with themselves. So congratulations, Jake. You won yourself an NFC North crown once again. Now let's talk about the division that people have called the NFC Beast, the NFC Least, the NFC East, my division, along with Mr. Caratanudo. Joe, you're absolutely right. I feel like Washington right now, if they can get a quarterback in place or they give the shot to Tyler Heineke, will be the guy. That will be the team that everybody will cheer for. Mike, you and I can go back and forth all day long, but you know what? Let's be real for one moment. Our teams right now are going to continually be rebuilding until we get our heads out of our asses and figure out what we need to do. So the Giants, under Joe Judge, if Saquon can stay healthy, they might be a force. But we got to see what Saquon is like. So if you're asking me if there's going to be a rematch next year, we all know, gentlemen, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. But the fact that Kansas City went 14-2, should have been 15-1, we all understand that. And the Bucs at 11-5 with the best record in the wild card and were able to go on the road and do what they did in Washington, in the Superdome, and in Lambeau in January, I can't go against them. So I say there will be a rematch. I just hope it's more of what we expected and traditionally wanted it to be instead of what we did see last night. Because I think corrections will be made, but let's see how the season plays out. Alex, I'm going to give it to you for the final word because, again, sir, you are the man right now. You are the man of honor. This is your team. I know where your heart is, but when it comes to writing and when it comes to really breaking down this team and understanding how this team works from offense to defense to special teams, I can honestly say, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not read the writings of one Mr. Alex Fleming, you should start. You definitely should. So, sir, I'm going to give you the final word. We're going to close it out here tonight on the Sports Arena.
Thank you for that, guys. Mr. Carlino, thank you for coming on. Always a pleasure. I only disagree with one thing you had to say. I do believe Stafford can get something done with the Rams. I actually have them being the dark horse. I got 2 coming out of the division next year from the NFC West. Mr. Wronghope, continuing to inspire. Thank you, sir. You've been a friend and a companion on this journey. And I know there's nothing but big things for you in the future. Mike, I guess my arm warmed up. I don't know. Cleveland looks good. Cleveland looks good, and the future's bright. They're a couple of pieces away, and Baker got to get it up here. But yeah, Stefanski's a good coach. They click with Baker, and you know what? Now's the perfect time to trade Odell because you did better without him. Now's the perfect time. As far as the NFC is concerned, I'm going to roll with Washington, and I think Washington or Minnesota need to pull the trigger. The AFC is not going to be terrorized by Deshaun Watson. If the Texans are actually going to do a trade and they want a king's ransom, he's going to the NFC. So we only have to face you once every 4 years. Washington, give up Payne, give up Fuller, throw in Cam Sims to sweeten the deal, give up your first-round pick this year, give up your first-round pick next year. Get Deshaun Watson. Pair him with Ron Rivera, a coach that will actually care about his well-being and has already tutored an MVP in Cam Newton. Neither of you have anything to lose. Washington, you're missing the quarterback. Houston, you have a disgruntled quarterback, and you have no first-round picks. And everything is in rebuild mode in Houston. Houston, you are now the new Jacksonville because there's sunshine in Jacksonville. So think about that. As far as Tampa Bay is concerned, they're in a little bit of salary cap hell. Look for Mike Evans to restructure his contract. He said that last night. That was another quote because it was on his mind after he won the Super Bowl about getting CG back. So we need to make shirts before somebody else jumps on it. We need shirts that say CG and TB. All right. CG and TB, and find a way to make the 2 and the 1 look like 1 and 2 for, Tom Brady 12. But Chris Godwin needs to stay in Tampa Bay. That's the key to this recipe that's going to make them go back-to-back NFC champions. Get that division. There's a lot of still whoop-de-woo and Saint fans, and I'm going to do better myself and actually be quiet because I don't need to say anything. It's to that point where I try to tell you and people didn't listen, and on the other half, you work hard, so let your work speak for you. So, yeah, you're right. I don't need to talk no more. If Carolina is in the Deshaun Watson phase, and I doubt they are, but if they are, they're barren on defense, bro. You lost Eric Reed because you didn't want to re-sign him. You have a good front because you did the right thing and you picked up the defensive tackle, but your linebacking core, besides Burns, needs to be restructured. So in the division, we're not worried about you right now. But for some odd feeling, I feel there's going to be 2 NFC South teams who make the playoffs along with 2 NFC West teams. You get 1 cat from the NFC East, maybe 2. That all depends on the North. And that all depends on Deshaun Watson, whether he lands in Minnesota or Carolina. But, let the chips fall where they may. It's the offseason. We've been doing this 2 years straight. And Mr. Wilson, Mr. Rongholt, and Mr. Carrot has just inspired me to move forward. And if you can dream it, you can think it. I feel like Fred VanVleet, you got to bet on yourself sometimes. And I just want to say thank you because I didn't want to let any of you down. That includes the people from the NFL Carousel, Quell Whistle Production, Mr. and Mrs. Foster, Miss Reed, Mr. Stills, my friends up in Illinois, my family, Texas, 806 Sports. You know what that was about. That was just fate right there. That was just me having a voice in a community that I used to live in that I didn't even know was there for me. So thank you for that. God, Allah, Buddha, they all work in mysterious ways. But I do have to mention the last thing before I go. I think the biggest thing I'll take back from the Super Bowl was the Vince Lombardi commercial. Because when you think of Vince Lombardi, you think of a champion. You think of a coach. You think of a leader of men. When Lombardi speaks, people listen. So to have him go through all these transitions, to show the nurses the pain we went through, all the hell that's been 2020, my goodness. And then have him come out on the screen with a little bit more melanin in his skin to give the people that you can get good information from more than just one source. Call me now for your free reading.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here on the Sports Arena tonight. A big thank you to Mr. Joe Carlino, DTSN, talking about the Falcons and Blogging Dirty. Make sure you guys check him out. Of course, my brother Michael Carrot-Tenuto, Believe in the Pac-12 podcast. Always love seeing his stuff. This brother he's on the move right now. Man, please drive safe while you're out there in Arizona. We will definitely talk to you really soon, my brother. Of course, Jake Rongholt, telling both sides of the story. Turning Point Podcast. Unbelievable. 12 years strong, me, you, and Mike, and we keep it rocking each and every year, brother. Finally, my brother, Mr. Alex Fleming. He's my brother. Hey, we are truly family. We gonna fight like it's nobody's business, but guarantee you, just as much as he's got my back, he already knows I'm running through walls for him each and every time. Your man, Eric Wilson, here on the Sports Arena. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great night. Thank you for watching. We really appreciate y'all. Hey, 2021 is just getting started for all us. Watch out for big things.